the debt is liquidated. In 1921, we had a serious depression. It lasted for a year or so, and GDP crashed. But back then, they didn't believe in propping it up and prolonging the agony. And in a year and a half, the depression was over. But what we are doing now is we prolong it. So there's a bigger bubble, bigger distortions, more regulations, more confusion, and it's a much bigger problem that has to correct, which means that there has to be a default. And the default comes from paying off all the bills with printed money. I mean, what was the reason why our government, our Federal Reserve in particular, for the last 10 or 15 years, I think it's since 2012, that our policy was, we need more price inflation. Why aren't the prices going up? They want something to help liquidate the debt, take down the real debt. In general, when you have inflationary pressures that comes from increasing the money supply, it's never even. Everybody doesn't suffer alike. And that's one of the problems with it, because some people suffer more than others, and some people make money and make more profits when there's inflation. But the inflation tells you whether the people are getting wealthier or not, or poorer. And one characteristic of this situation is labor and wages never keep up with prices going up once, the price movement starts. See, for years, we were printing money like crazy. We tripled the money supply between 08 and 22. And the inflation didn't seem to be bad, and the stock market was doing well. But when the prices in the retail market started going up, they lose control. But the wages never keep up. The problems that people have between two countries, if they have a shared interest, like continuing to trade and trust people, that they would voluntarily get together and say, how are we going to settle our disputes? That's what human beings are supposed to do. And that's what, but I agree with you. There's a lot of that right now. But who started this conflict and this contest that's going on? And we're militarily to protect our interests in 150 countries, and then we blame them because they're doing things back to us and they're competing. But no, Personally, I think individuals should look to themselves and not be too anxious to blame other people for their faults. And I think we as a country should do that too.
Bitcoin is as good as gold, meaning it's equally scarce, which is what makes gold valuable. It's scarcity. And yet it's more divisible and more portable. Right? If I had a bar of gold and I wanted to break it in half and give you half, really hard to do. If I want to send you half a Bitcoin, instantaneous. If I want to take that bar of gold and stuff it into the TCP/IP internet protocol we're using right now, it doesn't work. But I can use that protocol to send you Bitcoin instantaneously. And because it's a open public ledger that's cryptographically secure, I can know as soon as I transfer that value to you. And this can be anything of value. It can be a Bitcoin, it could be a car, it could be a house, it could be a stock certificate. Anything of value can become a token in a ledger, in a blockchain, and be secure. And the reason I call it the truth net is in the old days, to transfer value, we needed trust. And blockchain replaces trust with truth. Well, now we have the truth net. What's the truth net? The truth net is blockchain technology. All blockchain technology is, all it is a ledger that instead of being private and owned by centralized companies like Microsoft or Amazon or whoever, and existing in CPUs in a server in the cloud, now can be open, public, owned by no one, right? So it's a permanent source of truth, and it displaces the need for private databases. So it's just a database that's cryptographically secure, and that was the innovation. And so blockchain technology's use cases, one is Bitcoin. Bitcoin is a blockchain. It is a perfect store of value. It's basically digital gold. Gold the only money in the history of the world.
The explosion in oil prices from $3 to $10 in the early 1970s was partly an aggressive, was entirely an aggressive policy by Arab nations and a reluctance to sell. Right? And so they didn't want to put their dollars onshore; they wanted their dollars offshore with banks in the rest of the world. Now, dollar deposits are dollar liabilities to a bank. Okay, and so you are incentivized to find dollar assets. What are assets? Lending. And so you have this mania, like, Jesus, like, oh, we've got all these dollar liabilities. Lend the money out, like, balance the book. Brazil, sovereign government, want to borrow money. Fantastic. Governments never default, really. They never default till they default, So, and also you had the Eurodollar system there were no quantitative restrictions on the leverage that you could apply.